Stillness, presence, embodiment, wisdom. Welcome to my channel.
If your clients aren't getting the real results in coaching or your consulting session, or maybe even you are not getting the results in your conversations as a leader, it's most probably not that because of the tools you are using. And it's most likely also not because they come with resistance. See, here what's happened when coaches start having session and there is something that surprised them. Things are not getting their way. Very often they go into their head and they start to overthink, overanalyze, ask themselves a question. Was this question good enough? Which kind of questions should I have asked? What next? Which tool can I use? Should I use this or that? So they are really losing connection with their clients, right? And they start blaming themselves very often for not having enough good tools, for not knowing enough what to do, and sometimes even blaming the clients for bringing the resistance and not getting along or going along with them. But here is the truth. Neither of those are the real problems. The challenge is that you are trying to solve a problem with your inner state with outside tools. So you are focusing on the tools, on the methods, and you believe that this will solve your problem, where actually what's happening is that you are in the state that is not the most creative and resourceful in the session, and you get lost. And many people, when the resistance happens, they don't know what to do, because they think of resistance as something bad. But resistance is very often, it's like a wind. Think about this as a wind. And if you want to fly, or if you want to surf or windsurf or kite surf, you need the wind. You need the resistance in any coaching session. And the thing is not to go against the wind. You go with the wind, down the wind, and then you go up the wind. So you use resistance in the session, because resistance really show you what's important for the client. And very often it also shows you what's challenging for you as a coach. Let's see what happens in those sessions when something surprises you, when things don't get your way. You are putting a lot of attention on your thoughts. You start overthinking, analyzing, trying to look for maybe different methods, trying to find another smart question. So your attention is really on yourself. You already lost the connection with your client. You probably are not seeing what are they really resisting, what is really happening with them, and why are they responding the way they're responding. And with that, you probably are already stressed to the extent that you are not so aware of your own emotional state, of your own physical state. So you lose those parts of wisdom, those ones that could inform you what's going on in the session. So with that, losing the connection, losing the big part of your own intelligence, you start losing confidence. And the clients are getting less and less results. In the long run, this causes also even less belief in what you are doing. So it's even more challenging to sell your services to others. So here is the thing. Great coaching is not about the right tools or method. Great coaching is to know who are you being, especially in those moments when things go hard. So the questions you should be asking yourself is not which method to use, but really, what is the state I'm in right now? Because here's the thing, you either are in a reactive state or creative state. So, reactive state is the state where we are dysregulated, where we are losing a bit of our creativity. We are losing the access to our inner resources, where we are also losing connection with others. So when you lose connection with your clients, how do you know what to ask for? How do you know what to do if you are so busy with yourself in this moment? And also the state of reactivity is very often the state where we feel like we need to protect ourselves from something, that we are a bit challenged by something. So it's a state where there is a bit danger, right? We are not really creative in that state. The other state, the regulated, the creative state, is exactly the state where you can stay present. You know what's going on with yourself, with the client. You are creative. You are access to your inner resources. You stay connected. You can still be connected also to your greater vision, why you are doing this, what you are doing. And it's the state in which, because you are present, you know what also is happening with your client. And that's exactly where the answer lies. Your clients will give you the answer, what they need, and what's the next step in the coaching. So what to do, right? Think of this, instead of asking yourself which method to use, ask yourself what is the state I'm in. And I explain what is the reactive and creative state. Now, very important part of the work we as coaches and also leaders have to do is to work on ourselves and know how does this reactive state show up? What's the embodiment of it? What's the emotional field of it? Because when the moment happens of stress or when you get triggered and you don't know that, it's too late. So you really have to work with yourself before that and know that when you are stressed, you do that. When you are stressed, you get tense in certain part of your body. When you are stressed, you start to push your ideas. Or maybe when you are stressed, you withdraw and you stay quiet. Yeah. Maybe you go to overthinking or you start speaking fast and lose your breath. Whatever that is, it's good to know because that will be your clue you are stressed, right? You are not totally creative. Now, you also need to know how do you feel and how are you being when you are totally creative, when everything is perfect, when you are regulated. Like, how does it feel in your body? And really name that. Name that maybe your breath is coming from a deeper place. Maybe it's slower breath. Maybe you feel like you're softer. That you can observe and you are not so triggered, right? So once you know what's your reactive, once you know what's your creative, there's a time to practice this. And practice this not when you're with your clients, when there are high-stake environments, but before that. So in the moments of stress, in this moment of, oh my God, there is resistance, my client is not responding as I want them, as I thought, you actually can switch and go back to this more creative state. And maybe you won't be able to do it like to go fully depending on what's happening, but it's gonna be better than you not knowing what's happening and you thinking some other tool will help you in that moment. So the next question is how to come back to the state where you are more regulated, you are more creative and present with your client. There are many things you can do depending on your kind of reactive state. You need to know what your reactive state is. But there are a few tools all of us can use, and will work for different reactive states. So the one most powerful tool, of course, is the attention. And as I mentioned before, in those moments, usually your attention goes back on yourself. So you start thinking what to do and what have you done and what should you ask. Instead of doing that, try to put the attention back on the client. And maybe in your head even repeat what they just said. And just notice what's happening with their body. And maybe you just want to even repeat, oh, I noticed when you said that, you looked up, or I noticed you leaned back, or I noticed you started speaking faster. Whatever you notice, simply repeat that out loud or in your head. So that brings the attention back to the client and takes more away the attention and tension from yourself. That's one. The other tool that, again, all of us have, it's our breath. So in moments of stress, that's a physiological pattern that we have. Our breath will get shorter and more shallow. So it will be around here, and it will be faster and shorter, right? So what you can do is really practice, I say, drop your breath to your belly. So when you take an in breath, and you just take it as normal, and when you do the in out breath, you just think of this dropping it to your belly. So you're breathing out to your belly. You're breathing out down. You can even breathe out through your feet to the ground. It doesn't really matter. But what's important is slow down the out breath. It's easier than in breath. Slow down the out breath and bring it down to the ground. Because what happens when you are stressed, again, we are a lot in our head. There's lots of energy here. We are heavy here. So we need to bring the weight of our body down. So with that exercises, we're bringing the weight where it should be, to the center, below our below our belly button. And one more thing that I would suggest to do is to think of softening your body. Also softening your voice very often. And what I mean by that, imagine like with each out breath, you soften your belly. It's just becoming softened, like a baby belly. You also soften your feet. You soften your jaw. You soften your neck and your shoulders. Because those are the places where we hold the hardness. You can also soften your heart, depending on what's happening. And depending on how much time you feel you can take to do that in a session, you can choose one of those examples. Again, very important is to practice that before you need that. So don't think about this like, next time I have a session, I will do that. No, practice this when you don't need. Think as an athlete. They don't practice during the competition. They practice before competition. Competition is maybe 1% of the time. So practice before you need it. And that's the moment where you can use it. How is this all linked to your clients getting results as they want, right? Because in the end, it's all about that. Well, if you know who are you being and which state are you in any given moment, especially in the moments of stress, and you're able to switch this state to more regulated, more creative, more a state where you are present with them and you are not so triggered, well, you can be present with them. You can name what's going on. You can name their resistance and be okay with this resistance. You can take them to the places they want to go. So you can risk more. The sessions are less mentally heavy. They're usually lighter, which has impact on the clients. You are able to source from your own embodied intelligence, from your intuition, from your emotional intelligence, and you can connect them to those parts of them also. So your clients most likely are getting the results they want because you can name whatever is happening in the session. And their results are not, well, they always are impacted by our state. So their results are impacted now by your creative state. And once you are regulated, you can co-regulate the other person. Because that's how it works. Between humans, we co-regulate each other. So imagine if you're both dysregulated, no way for a very creative session. If you're regulated, and you can stay regulated and empathic in the session, your clients will shift to that state too. And they will be able to find the answers and insight that they want. What I shared today, it's really about a shift in being a coach that believes that the answers and lies outside of themselves, in methods, in tools, and perfect questions. To become a coach that believes that the answers lie inside of them, in their presence, their creativity, their resourcefulness. And if you're a coach and you want your clients to believe that they can get that in the session with you, well, you better believe in that yourself first. If this resonates with you, let me know in the comments and share it with others that you think will benefit from it. And don't forget to subscribe.